What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Carbonite Bounty BS. Me and the
Hey.
hope everybody's had a good week going on, and glad to get back with everybody and discuss this Star Wars Rebels Season 3 as we get on the back end of Rebels and get towards conclusion and what everybody's waiting for over this festive period of the Book of Boba finishing off the month. So a
Yeah.
lot of interesting
This is the
content coming
way.
for everybody. This definitely is the way for sure. But before we get into anything, let's let DP know where to find us at.
Nerdcyclopedia.com. People, make sure that you're going to that site. You will find all our links there on our social media platforms at Facebook, Twitter, and also on Instagram at Nerdcyclopedia. Make sure that you are also subscribing. If you're watching us right now on YouTube, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Also hitting that notification button. So anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. We also got a Facebook group. Join that group. We are always discussing and memeing different Star Wars stuff. Tom Hastings, he's on there just like killing it on the meme game. It's an awesome thing to actually, take part in and everything. Also, if you are in the car, and love listening to podcasts, we are on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, we are there. Leave us also some feedback, nerds at nerdslikecyclopedia.com.
Good stuff, guys. And,
We're a podcast.
We're back. We definitely are. We appreciate everything Hitch does. Now that we got some live graphics interaction as well. So look at us, man. It's moving on up in the world, huh?
That's
Production.
right. I was actually this is way off topic for Star Wars, but I was actually just looking back at some of our work from 2018 and 2019, and you're absolutely right. We've really come a long way as a channel, not just in the way things look, which is much better. Because when we were just figuring out how to do this, me and DP, everything looked crappy, but that's okay because we we were learning, right? And now things look great, and now the content's so much better. We've passed our 1 year anniversary with Team Mitch here, and Ken's been with us for a couple years. So, for me and DP, thank you very much to both of you guys for sticking with us and being on the channel and being such great conversation partners. Honestly, like we really couldn't. Yep. We couldn't do this without you guys. And when we tried really hard to not on it. Just kidding.
You guys bring that extra energy, and we definitely appreciate that.
For sure. So, thank you guys. Now that you mentioned that, yeah, we've really come a long way. I'm super excited about the channel for sure.
Yeah, and I echo that as well. I mean, it's been a fun journey. I mean, I remember the first couple ones. I'm like, man, this is rough. And then, I was watching some of the old ones, some of the first ones where you're doing a Mandalorian. I was just like, geez, man. But no, it's definitely becoming. It's crazy. It seems like as our channel grows. I mean, look at the Star Wars content. It's growing. I mean, production levels are kicking up. So, more and more stuff, more and more exciting. Things coming out. We got Kenobi in May, which we'll probably find out a trailer. I'm guessing at the Super Bowl. They'll probably do Super Bowl or like a Good Morning America sometime in that time frame in the end of January for the first trailer there. But we got Kenobi, we got Andor, we got the Acolyte,
Ahsoka. Can't forget about
Ahsoka. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of big things going on. So and then, as we said, even in the Facebook group, a lot of interaction going on with some of the graphic novels, some of the EU stuff. So, yeah, please interact with us. If you're in the car, as we said, listening, watching, wherever you're tuning in, just please interact with us. There's so many ways to find us, and we love to talk and hear from everybody. But, guys, just kind of kicking things off. Ken, what were your kind of initial reactions on this kind of first run of the first 7 episodes of Season 3?
So the first episode, seeing Ezra transformed, I mean, from the last episode of Season 2 to the first episode of Season 3, I mean, he's cleaned, he's polished, he like grew up, he matured, he grew into his Padawan self. And then, of course, Ezra has gone through a change too, just internally with all the conflict and everything, and they build on that because at first I was like, where did that happen? What happened? How did he go from this like brash, sort of arrogant kid to, I mean, he's basically a Jedi. I mean, he's pretty matured, and I'm guessing that we're going to get a little bit of that, in the next couple episodes. I think more in the mid it comes where
Yeah.
we see what Kanan kind of was, because he went through something too. So we're going to see that relationship grow. I mean, this is such a polished series. I mean, it really has a lot of things that, not that I didn't like Clone Wars, but Clone Wars was still kind of comic booky. This is a little more adult oriented stuff. I really enjoyed this little set of episodes. The next set does a lot too. So this is a great season. I think we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. And even just to piggyback on my first initial thoughts, I mean, you are right about Ezra, the kind of metamorphosis of him as a Jedi. And obviously with, Kanan obviously losing his sight, somebody goes through tragedy like that, it's kind of like, even in personal life, and as we tie these stories of personal life, he's basically Kanan's eyes right now. As Kanan tunes himself to the Force. So it kind of shows you, through Star Wars, in real life, how that sharpened Ezra's mind, to be the eyes for Kanan. And it's kind of one of them things, sometimes through loss, as we see with the Anakin and the Skywalker saga, what leads people to do other things, and how strong you can be or how weak you can be or susceptible to be to certain things. So I really like how this ties in still to the Skywalker saga with some of these themes and the way it ties everything together. So yeah, I can really piggyback on what you said with Ezra early in this season so far.
Yeah, and it's more like, so part of being a Jedi is being able to overcome. So what's a big thing that you'd have to overcome when you lose your sight? You lose a hand, you use your legs and arms. I mean, you really have to, now that's a little more dark side, but you really have to dig deep and find strength to move on and get past the physical detriment, because with the Force, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you can see, because you use the Force to see, and the Force doesn't use an organ to see. It uses your mind. So unless you lose your head, which then it doesn't matter anymore. But it really goes to the strength and the mental strength that Jedi need to build on themselves. And I think once you get a detriment like that, it makes you that much stronger.
Right.
Well, think about what Ezra's becoming here at the beginning of season 3. He does that Force, he does the mind trick on the pilot of that walker, and it is brutal. It is just brutal. He forces this person to gun down all their friends and then tumble to their own demise. I mean, that is just straight up gangster. That is as dark side as it gets, right? I mean, goodness gracious. And why is this? Because Ezra and Kanan face the same trial. It's blindness. They've both been blinded by Maul, right? Kanan, in a literal sense, he's been blinded by Maul, but in a way that opens up his awareness of the Force. So he sees now in the Force. And Ezra has been blinded in the Force. He thinks he can use the holocron for good. He thinks he can use dark side tactics for a good purpose, right? Thinks he can go down the Primrose path. But he's more capable and dangerous than ever in this batch of episodes. If there's anybody that Ezra reminds me of here in these first couple missions that he's leading, is Anakin Skywalker. Yeah. I mean, it's not. I mean, and obviously it's intentional to echo, as you guys were saying, with to echo what Anakin went through as far as the tribulations of Anakin Skywalker. But we just saw him like last week in this show, right? Like we just saw him at the end of season 2. So that is all carrying forward. And seeing Kanan go through the sort of, turning to be basically like Daredevil, I guess, he doesn't really need to see because he can use the Force, so it's just a way to cheat. It's just cheap, right? Right. You can really see. I mean, we get it, right? It's cool. Yeah. It's a show, right? It's all right. We're not mad about it or whatever.
No, we can't dig that deep, can we?
No, it's cool. It's just he's a space wizard. He can see without seeing. Right. But I think it's interesting that Maul was the one that blinded them both, and I just think that was a very, very well written, like like a 3D sort of type of plot point, right? Everything dovetails together really, really nice. I love the appearance of Wedge Antilles. Man, I love seeing me some Wedge, and I know we talked when we we were talking Mandalorian. I am constantly saying, hey, I want, Wraith Squadron. I want, I want to see these monsters of the week, this mission of the week, and I want to see guys from Rogue Squadron. And who else, who better to show up and represent Rogue Squadron than Mr. Rogue Squadron himself, Wedge Antilles. That's a name I really enjoyed seeing. Wedge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm echoing everything that you guys are saying, and I mean, especially like the parallels between Anakin and Ezra. Seeing Ezra be a little bit more brash, a little bit more confident in his Jedi abilities and everything. And those shades of Anakin are definitely there. And Ken, you were talking about how the things just keep popping up. Trying to face an obstacle, overcoming it, put something that's right in your way, and doing your best to try to overcome those obstacles. I mean, that's what Star Wars is all about, going all the way back to like Skywalker, facing his trials and tribulations, to what we see with Anakin, throughout the Clone Wars, and now with Ezra, Bridger, even Kanan to his degree. I wasn't so much feeling the whole blindness thing. I totally remember that happening in the final episodes of the previous season. I didn't expect to just keep it going and everything. And then when I seen how they were going to play it out, like you said, the Daredevil type thing, I'm like, oh, okay. But I do like a sight. Yeah, I do like some sight with Kanan and everything. But yeah, I mean, the first 7 episodes introduced Thrawn. Finally, I get to see the guy, in the flesh and everything, and he's like, awesome to see. I can't wait to see more of him. He's just like laid back, and nothing gets to this guy.
Yeah.
Nothing just.
He's calm and cool. He's calculated. It's almost like he knew you were going to say that, right? He knew you were going to say that, and he just stayed cool. He's really great. They are doing he's getting his own series, right?
Yeah,
he will.
I
believe so.
He's going to be the big bad of the
villain. Yeah,
he's the Thanos of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
but he's much more. Thanos is like brute strength, right?
Yeah, he'll just overpower you. He doesn't care what you will do, because he doesn't matter. You can't hurt him. But Thrawn's cool, because like you were saying, he'll be like, I knew you were going to say that, but he would say something like, I knew of the options you had. This thing that you said is the 5th most optimal option, and the correct riposte is this. That's what he would say, and he would say the better rebuttal for you would be this. He would say that like that would have damaged my argument this way.
He's a Star Wars brainiac.
Yeah.
Really,
cool.
He has, so many. Yeah, he has all the options. He has everything kind of way before it happens. So, and it is cool because I was reading some interesting things about the where the Chiss is from, as far as the unknown regions, which we'll get into in the future and whatnot. And it's very interesting about him, the Chiss, the unknown regions, the fact that how he even got to where he is now in some of the novels, because the Chiss can't even navigate from the unknown regions to this part of space. So de facto, he's still a mystery to this day. People don't know how he got out the unknown regions. Is he a plant for the Chiss to some point take over as the new empire? Thrawn is a very interesting character, and as you guys say, I think we'll see him a lot more prevalent in future Star Wars series.
So my question with Thrawn, and I mean, it's been Thrawn. I've been hearing this name for like such a long time. How does a person, and maybe this will just be revealed over time, but just ask it now. How does a being as powerful and smart as him fold himself under the Empire? Like, why is he aligned with them? It's
why not? They have the power.
They have the power, but also at the time when they discovered him, this is when Palpatine was finding out about the unknown regions because his body was dying. So as they sent people to the unknown regions, they discovered the Chiss, which is this race of his people. Somehow they recruited him into the Empire, but as of to current day, nobody knows why he was recruited. If he's a plant for the rebels, is he a plant for the Chiss to take over, or is he a plant for literally just being somebody that is, loyal to the rebellion? Nobody knows his true intentions yet, and even in the EU, it's never been said what his intentions were, or really, like you're saying, how or why he agreed to join the Empire. But he was found in the unknown regions when they were trying to discover that for Palpatine's body.
Yeah, the Chiss homeworld's wild, man. There's in the EU, and who knows how much of this they'll keep. But you imagine some of this stuff is probably they're very non-emotional, and they live on this like really cold planet. So they are like sort of like ice giants from Thor a little bit. They got the red eyes. They're super militaristic to the point where like, like they're like the Romans almost. You know what I mean? Like they're ready to fight all the time, forever. And so, to what Trenton said, there's some speculation that what Thrawn was doing was going to reconnoiter what the Empire was, and then when they gave him the keys to everything, it was just sort of like, oh well, that was easy to get in charge of everything, right?
Maybe I'll stay here.
Right? Maybe I'll just be in charge of all of you idiots. I guess I'll just do it. So that's something that's pretty wild. One of the crazy things that I remember this vividly from the EU. Is they go to Thrawn's homeworld and they're looking for some sort of archaic knowledge, and they go to a place, and I remember they're describing this, and this is just one of those like B sci-fi novel things. They're like, but the types of data records they had were super ancient. They were little sheets of pounded out wood pulp that were smashed together and had actual ink on them. So they're actually in a library in Star Wars, and I was just like, this is so lame. You could go anywhere in Star Wars, and you took me to a library. A library?
With papaya paper.
I mean, first of all, support your public libraries. Libraries are awesome. But if I'm plotting a Star Wars story, one of the necessary stops is not my local public library. Now, if I want to read a Star Wars story, that would be a very necessary stop, which is why we should support them. But for this purpose,
well, there's a library in the temple.
That's
Jedi
right.
Temple was a huge library. That's
right, Ken. And that was a stupid thing to do in that movie too.
Hide in the library where there's just tables you can see under and books everywhere.
Yeah, it made sense though, right? I mean, the Jedi.
I can't find this
They
planet.
weren't fighting anyone, so they were keeping the knowledge. They were.
I'm talking about. Remember when they ran in there to hide from Anakin? Like that's probably the worst place to hide and go seek a library. Wide open hallways. Like, yeah, that's great. Tables with,
I just thought it was terrible that they played that whole scene for laughs. He kept saying Marco, and the Jedi kept saying Polo, like reflexively, and he's just cutting them down. It was just really not cool.
He was hiding between Y and Z.
Right. They never should have put that mustache and the funny nose and glasses on him either. It was messed up.
Very bad choice.
How about the Mandalorian stormtroopers? Like, I'm like, where does that come from?
Awesome, right?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. They keep dipping Sabine in there as well, which is pretty cool. She keeps getting her screen time. So
yeah. Fleshing her story out, and her backstory and everything, and how the one Mandalorian stormtrooper. I'm like, how does that even work? They have their own religion and lore and everything, but it's just half of them decided to fold into the Empire, or parts of them decided to fold into that, and then you got the rest of them. You got all these different factions of Mandalorian, and
they like to fight. So you like to have the upper hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always the Mandalorian stuff, and Ken and Hitch can attest to this. It's always kind of a slippery slope, because in the EU you don't know where they went from the story with the War of Mandalore, because they've sieged Mandalore like 8,000 times. Yeah. So you have these Mandalorians who join the Empire, and they have these Death Squad type, and then you have the Death Watch, which is the traditional religious kind of outcast that are the people who do not take their helmets off. They are the people with the original, so to speak, original Mandalorians. So it's always a slippery slope, because you don't know which side or what story they're telling or where they come from. Because, as you said, this could have been the Mandalorian War, and they were just, kind of slaves of the Empire, or maybe that, Palpatine's kind of grip on him. Maybe he has control of Mandalore right now. That's the thing. Nobody really knows. So interested to see with the Filoniverse what they kind of do. Hopefully we find that out in the Mandalorian season 3 or some of it. But I'm interested to see what they do, because this would be like a new age Mandalorian war after Revan and Malik and the hundreds of years of Mandalorian wars we fought in the past. This will be a whole new chapter for the Mandalorian war.
We haven't even got any of Palpatine yet. The only visage of Palpatine we got was when he was talking on the TV screen, right?
Yeah, he popped up and he was like, "Lord Vader, the plot is not advanced sufficiently for you to be involved. Go do some other stuff."
I had to make make my presence known because they weren't aware of me yet. Now they
Lord
are.
Vader, you left with the keys again. I need to get in.
I can't get
I need to get into the camper. I left my Kenny Loggins tapes in there.
If only it was that simple.
Oh man, yeah. Palpatine stories like what we even get in this universe? If Rebels doesn't even touch that.
Do you think he tells other people like how he like his ultimate like sell job is like selling Vader? He's like, and then we're in the opera, and I was just like, hey, Vader. You know what I mean? Like, and everyone around him's like, oh yeah, way to go. I can't.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
He's a bragger.
Oh, it definitely is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Palpy. We miss Palpy when he's not around. And it's weird because I feel like the sequel trilogy was really haunted by too much Palpatine. And like this series, I kind of wish there was a little more Palpatine. So it's just like I just got to get him the right Palpatine level.
You're giving the sequel trilogy too much credit. It was only one movie that had him in
there. Hey, now they planned for him to be involved the whole time. They planned it from the beginning.
Okay,
from the beginning.
Remember what they said though? He was Snoke. Remember, he was Snoke was a clone of him that he was controlling from the other side of the galaxy.
I wish Snoke would have been an enormous alien like they were hitting at in episode.
That's what I thought
7,
he was
right?
going to be. Some like.
What if they just like show up and he's 80 feet tall? Like, whoa!
I thought he was going to have this, something
it's like,
cool.
Oh, it's like
some Galactus type looking guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you see him in episode 9 in Super Saiyan costume. His suit was red. I can't wait till we get into that. Oh my gosh. The more we talk about it, the more the rating goes down.
I just watched Rise
oh my god.
the Rise of Skywalker. And
it's a red suit on. Like, come on.
It just seemed like they realized they were losing us and they had to throw everything they could in that last film.
Oh no.
Ken, you're going from perfect 10 Ken is going
yet
down to
another thing changed by the pandemic.
Yeah, we are. Mask up.
Perfect 10 Ken might be lowering a rating. This is
Perfect
scary.
10 Ken. Oh boy.
We had to throw everything in there to get us all back to reel us in because they lost us with The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And we're like, okay, how do we bring this back so it feels like a Star Wars film again?
All right, just for fun.
Palpatine.
Make him Super Saiyan. You make him Super Saiyan. He didn't have the blonde hair.
Yeah, but then is it really Super Saiyan?
Well, it depends. It can be blue and he can be a god now, as we saw in the Macy's parade.
Well, I love that, man. I love to see it. All right, guys, now it's time for the pressure point, the pain point of the week. We have to rank the sequel trilogy films amongst themselves objectively. 7, 8, and 9. Now, I feel like
as a set or individually.
I mean,
individually.
Listen. Your criteria, man. You got to make your own criteria. So for me, we have to talk about like the effect, like what effect did this movie have on Star Wars? So I would say episode 7, followed by episode.
Watch it.
Are you going to call that 8? Because I'm going to call that. I'm going to go 7 and 9. 8 is.
I'm going to say 7. I actually think that I would rank them in reverse order, really. So 7 is the best one, followed by 8.
Correct.
Followed by 9, which is the worst of the 3.
You put it way back there.
So you're ranking them anyway, the order that they were released.
Yeah.
Right.
Boy, that's not very controversial. I'm gonna flip
No.
And it's funny because that's the
8,
tiebreaker
7.
I was going to use. So even if I just said they're all equally shitty, that would be would be the result.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 9, 7, 8.
You like 9 the best?
I just got some lightsaber action, so I mean that's all I wanted to see for 3 movies. I mean,
Yeah,
they fought Praetorian, they fought Temple Guards in the second one, which had no powers, but whatever.
The fight between Kylo and Rey on the busted up piece of Death Star was great, legendary. I mean,
what about the scene with her and her clone or the whatever the vision? That was sick when she pulled that double blade out.
It was too fast though. It was like done. But and then even at the end, Kylo and Rey at the end of the battle, it was Vader and Kenobi, like A New Hope. Vader and Kenobi, they were just hacking at each other. There was no special effects. It was just anger, and you could tell who the aggressor was and who was on defense. You know, it was a great scene. That's why I would put it 1.
The ending, the thing that destroyed me with 9 though, and that's still the best, is how does Palpatine not pull a lightsaber out? This is him at his strongest. You duel with a saber. That's like, you know, it's your saber fighter. He has to pull out the saber, and then the fact that him at his strongest point, he's controlling everything. So you're telling me your lightsaber is strong enough to to deflect his strongest blast, and that's it. Like,
which Yoda couldn't do. I mean, exactly. he fought Yoda with a lightsaber, and frankly, he's already done it. So like by the time we get to episode 9, I mean, we're anticipating that he's gonna go like whoop, and have a lightsaber, right? Because that's like his deal.
He's always had it in his sleeves, both of them.
Right.
He's had 2.
We should be thinking it was sort of like we should be thinking at the end of episode 9, hey, it's really weird that he didn't have a lightsaber on him at the end of episode 6, and he was just like that overconfident that he was just like, I don't even need a weapon. These guys are I have Vader so under my thumb, I don't even need a weapon. That's Palpatine's hubris. And then to find out that no, he just didn't have his lightsaber because that body was irrelevant. When it died, I was like, he's still alive. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I'm going to go 9, 7, 8. 8, I told you guys, I can't do 8. I can't. The Praetorian Guards is like some rip-off Temple Guards. Like, it just... if I'm watching it itself as a movie, I'd probably give it like a 7.5 just for watching the movie. But in the continuance, no. He just went off the rails a little bit.
But once again, we have to remember there's different movies that we didn't get to see because Carrie Fisher died. Right? There's a different episode 9 that is much different because she's involved in training. Like there's a lot more of that we see.
Right.
And so the whole story is different. And again, you know, episode 8 is a good companion to 7, but it's more like it's like, you know, the Hedge Knight novellas in Game of Thrones, right? It's not a mainline thing. It's like an extra thing.
You know what makes it more You know what makes it more disgusting, though? The fact that before Carrie Fisher died, when Carlo Javara wrote his episode 9, if you guys read that script, oh my gosh, she's like not even in it. Duel of the Fates. So did you ever read that? They go all the way
through. No, I have never read it, but they go all the way through to rewrite episode 9 so that she's involved and then she dies. I mean, that's the sort of thing that I think makes it really hard to even judge these movies. Because there's a version of them that is much more unified and complete that gets made because, you know, the star doesn't pass away too early. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that's like the world, right? You know what I mean? The potential versus actualization, blah, blah, blah. Alas, I'm Yorick.
Filoni, all he's going to do is like, you know, fill in those blanks and stuff where everything was going to end up making some sense at some point.
Oh, they will.
He'll come in and clean the trilogies up. In hindsight, these trilogies will look way better once he, you know, puts his hands on like the story afterwards. Just like how he did like the prequel trilogy, you know, made Clone Wars. It just made everything look beautiful. Well, not beautiful, but made everything look a lot better than what it was, than what we remembered it when we first watched the prequel trilogy.
Yeah. And he realized there were holes in it. There were things that they couldn't do with based on like the technology at the time, or maybe the talent, maybe the writing talent, or
or just overall story. Because
yeah,
I mean, that's such an the Clone Wars in itself was just an expansive story that needed to be told over a long period of time. I mean, to try to tell that in like 3 movies, sort of with like a couple years, 2 or 3 years of spread out apart. It just wasn't doing much justification and stuff. So the whole Clone Wars series did to, as far as I'm concerned, especially season 7. Oh my god, it just did the whole thing justice.
I mean, you guys heard the news though, right? Ever since Disney has backtracked their story with Scarlett Johansson, well, Adam Driver has been openly said that he's open to coming back. John Boyega now has openly said he's potentially come back because they're looking at doing a Finn series, and haven't heard anything from Oscar Isaacs because Oscar Isaacs is super busy. But obviously Daisy Ridley's open to come back, but. You'll see. I think they are going to do maybe not retconning, but you're going to see a lot of post Episode 9 stuff come out. Interesting because the actors all said that they're willing to work again with LucasArts with Star Wars, which wasn't the case when we started this. About a year ago since I've joined. Everybody and John Boyega had us kind of falling out, so to speak. So
well, a lot has changed in Star Wars since Episode 9. It sort of was a big fart, you know what I mean? Like it landed like a wet fart, and that sort of was really terrible. And then Mandalorian season 2 sort of unmessed that up, right? I mean, it was just really good, so that really reinvigorated, the Star Wars fandom, and honestly pushed the Star Wars fandom, I think, more to TV and out of movies. It's weird, like it's now, and maybe it's just our perspective because we're going through Rebels and we're going through Clone Wars.
No, you're absolutely correct because they're not. I mean, it hasn't been another Star Wars movie out since then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were talking about doing these like every single year. The Star Wars movies and stuff. And then when Mandalorian came out, you're right. They pushed everything to like Disney Plus. We're going to do all this, start announcing all these projects for like Disney Plus. The movies. I mean, we had Patty Jenkins taking off the movie, then put it right back on and stuff. They can't really decide how they're going to go about the main, like the big franchise stuff. They want to get the right story for that, but they got the Disney Plus stuff. They got a whole bunch of. It's a better way to tell the story. The movies, you can maybe do like your big fight special effects and just bring the character stuff that you establish in the shows up into the movies. I don't know, but It's got to be a way they can figure out the movie part because the TV part is just wrecking the job.
I think
they just announced a new game too this week. You saw that at Star Wars Eclipse, right?
A new game?
Oh, there's a trailer. You guys have to watch it. If anybody on the channel has not seen it, type in Star Wars Eclipse. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. It's coming out. They announced at the Video Game Awards. So, yeah, they have a big new project coming out with the Star Wars Eclipse in this current time frame as well. So that's a big thing they just announced this past week here.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've not played a Star Wars game in a hot minute, and that's probably just because I'm old.
You have to play that Cal Kestis one, man. Come on.
I have to play all. I have to do a lot of stuff. I get behind. What can I say?
It's amazing with this universe how they respect each other's boundaries and stuff. They yes. But how they respect their boundaries as far as stories between all these different platforms, the video games and the the movies, the TV shows and stuff, and don't really step over each other's. I mean, who keeps track of the Bible? If something happens here, it can't happen over there. If something happens
Star Wars has plenty of people that will tell them the Bible. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure, and the LucasArts one, I'm sure, and whatever Dave has is going to be more. You know what I mean? More detailed and have actual access to the developmental and we decided this and blah blah blah. And you could probably take any one of 100,000 or so nerds and have them recite all the stuff to you. Well, actually, in 3 years ABY, what happened is the Prince Consort came, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah, but the respect of it is just like, I mean, the Star Wars fandom and writers, creatives, the respect of keeping the Star Wars intact is right there. I mean, the biggest thing that they did was get rid of the EU stuff, and just put it off to the side. I'm talking about things like compared to like MCU, for instance, or whatever. Some people complain that some of the characters needed to have their own stories told by themselves instead of having it tied so much to the continuity of the MCU. Whereas Star Wars, the continuity is there, and they can go off into different platforms. Like I said, the video games, the books, the universe is so expansive. Nobody complains about, okay, if Thrawn is why can't you tell like a Thrawn story and not have it affect what's going on in the main canon or whatever? That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of can though.
Tie it back. They have to tie it back real quick somehow. They could do that.
I mean, if you want to tell the story, you have to tie it back. But Star Wars is probably, to me, like the only thing that just people just respect, the boundaries.
Yeah.
If Admiral Thrawn has Han Solo's sabacc dice, I'm gonna lose it. I'm just gonna
come on. No, you can't do that.
We'll lure him here.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, he just has two fuzzy dice. That's all.
He puts them right up on the executor. Right, just throws it right up there.
Right on the bridge. They hang low enough. All the stormtroopers bang their heads on it when they walk in.
That's bad enough than saying like the Millennium Falcon has a set of balls hanging from the back of it.
It does. I saw him.
Yeah, that'll be the next
nuts for truck nuts for the Millennium Falcon.
Crazy,
right? Could you imagine that in a hyper? What is that in when they
going into hyperspace warp speed?
Yeah, you're going in warp. You're going in warp speed. Yeah, with them flying, they're gone.
Like dangling behind.
Yeah.
You'd have to lock them up. You'd have to, like landing gear.
Frantically just shooting the Millennium Falcon as it comes into Bespin. You gotta pull your truck nuts up, Millennium Falcon. You'll wreck our landing pad with those things.
You can't leave that junk hanging out all over the place.
That's a hunk of junk. And junk's right. Which
you know what I'm interested in?
Luke being like, that ship?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a better line.
That one? Yeah. And then Han would be like, hey.
Truck nuts. That's the line. That's the line of the day. Truck nuts on a Millennium Falcon. You only get it here, people. You only get it here.
Yeah, you only get it here.
Thankfully.
CBBS.
I mean, it's realistic, though. I mean, we can tie it in the current themes. I mean, we'll see what happens with Moff Gideon. I mean, does he?
No, we haven't.
He's another big character. I mean, I highly doubt they're going to have Giancarlo Esposito only on for 5 episodes. Come on, he has to have a bigger role. So that's something else that they'll expand on. I mean, like I said, we're 2 weeks out here from the Book of Boba, and I think that's only like a Hawkeye type 6 or 8 episode run.
I think it's only set for like 6, so they're going to get in and out.
Show me how we got out of that Sarlacc pit that we were told was an inescapable calamity in which one would be digested over the course of 1,000 years. And here,
he's absolutely fine.
Perhaps Jabba was supposed to.
Yeah. So once again, he survived the Sarlacc, right? But once again, Mace Windu is dead. I'm going to keep bringing this up.
Let's not pull that thread because Thomas, our number one fan, brought up a really terrible point a couple weeks ago on our message board, which is that there is no canon death yet for Jar Jar Binks, which means He could 100% show up in the Book of
Anytime.
Boba Fett at any point in time. In any of these shows, it could just be like, we have a contact. Misa, be secret and informer. And you're like, oh no. And it's just like, since it's the outline, he's doing the deep throat bit. And everyone can tell it's George R. Binks.
All you'd see are the eyes.
Misa, know the Emperor secret.
The eyes. That's it.
Yeah, the eyes are just something you're like, Misa, know the Emperor's secret.
I would love to do a live watch along and just see him come on the screen and watch your face.
How?
Just
You
to
know,
see
in my-
Hitch's face.
Oh, I'd be so mad. In my mind,
Exactly.
what actually happened is in Rogue One, when Caspian shoots that guy, that's Jar Jar Binks in my head, because that would be really easy to do. And boom, he's gone, and everyone's just like, "Wow, that was
easy.
really got it." Yeah, everyone's happy. You know, they explode planets. I mean, you just have to put him in any one of many locations, and he could die, just like Chewbacca died in the EU on Cernpedal.
They
When
blew
they
up his.
dropped the
They
planet.
blew up his planet when they Starkiller Base hit it. Starkiller Base blew up Coruscant allegedly. That was a planet. That was one of the
That
planets
was
they blew up.
Coruscant.
Well, that's when you
How
saw the
come they
people.
could
They. I don't
Yeah.
know. Come on, man.
Stupid, these stupid
Yeah.
physics. There's no way you would be able to see that
Jar
across all
Jar
the
was
star
there.
systems simultaneously. It wouldn't look like that. I mean, things are far apart. I mean, even if something happened in different planets in this solar system, you'd still get the information like minutes apart, 20 minutes apart, an hour apart. And so, frankly, I hope someone got fired over that one because it was really inconsistent.
That was a running theme that Coruscant got blew up. Which I mean, I don't know.
I don't know what those. I didn't think that was Coruscant. It was some lame explanation. But then when they said it wasn't Coruscant, I thought that was a cop out because I thought nuking Coruscant and saying we're starting all the way over with galactic civilization was the point, right? Like, whoa, like now there's not just no Jedi and no Sith. There's no like the seat of government for the galaxy for 10,000 years doesn't exist. That's a pretty big reset button when you really think about it. But they copped out, so I didn't do it.
So Banks is still alive, everybody. Everybody needs to go
Where-
spam the official Star Wars Twitter page.
Let me ask you
Bring
guys
back
this:
Jar Jar.
what media, what show do you think needs Jar Jar Binks? What do you need? I mean, obviously, Clone Wars is out because he's unfortunately in it. Where would you put him? I mean, what would you have happen? What would you do with Jar Jar Binks if you had Jar Jar Binks to throw into Star Wars here?
Last episode of Mandalorian 3.
He just shows up for the next one.
That's where I'd put him. That way, everyone is ready for 4. We can't wait to see what Jar Jar and
Wah! He's just accidentally killing all those battle droids, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's cutting through them!" And he's just like running away.
He's stumbling over the gun. Yeah, he's stumbling over guns,
Exploding
shooting
and stuff.
that's where I'd put him.
My dark premonition's coming true, and Jar Jar Binks is in like the Ahsoka series, and he's like some sort of like main piece. Oh, that'd be a quick way.
Everybody needs to go on the official Star Wars page and spam Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
Bring him back. Bring back Jar Jar Binks because if he shows up, that'll
How-
be
how-
Hitch's ultimate reaction.
How does Thrawn react to Jar Jar?
They really are opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Because Thrawn's really smart, he knows everything that's going to happen.
That's
He
his
plans
mortal-
meticulously.
that's his
Jar
mortal
Jar
enemy.
Binks,
Yeah.
super uncool looking alien, stupid looking alien. Makes no sense that he's even around because, as I've stated many
Thrawn
many,
just
many
can't figure him
times.
out. Thrawn just can't figure him out.
As I've stated many times, Jar Jar Binks doesn't need to be in episode 1 beyond the first 25 minutes.
Ron would take him and make him a weapon. Because
Just send him in.
something this stupid has to be dangerous.
I know how to collapse the Republic. Send Binks. Return him. Just goes there. I don't know. I feel like the guy that is the one that essentially said, we're going to put Palpatine in charge. Like that guy has probably either been, purged by Palpatine or is like one of the, he has to be one of the top guys in the Empire or dead. I feel like there's just no middle ground in a reactionary government that's an authoritarian with one guy who can't have any competition ever, even from people in the next generation, because there is no next generation for him, right?
Right.
So Either Binks is still tied in real tight with him, or dead. I hope dead. I'm.
There's just no other option.
I mean, the character, obviously, not any of the people involved in the production.
Thanks.
We're not crazy. I don't like the tone. I like just a little bit of seriousness. I don't know. I feel like, you know, if you're
So
all
you
clown.
think the Jester character they went overboard with the Jester, basically?
I think they had comic relief because they had plenty of banner. Listen, we can get into the diegetic. We can talk about episode 1 too, where I think they really just should have left him in Gun City and just left. Why'd they have to say we're going to murder this guy? Just don't say that. Just be like, we don't like him, but he brought you here. And then they go, you're not going to kill this guy, right? And they go, nope. Right?
Well,
That's it.
They had to take him because there was a life debt to be paid. Sorry. But you have to take him. You can't leave him there. He was tied to Qui-Gon Jinn forever.
So what if Hitch saves him and he has a life debt to Hitch?
Oh my God, that sounds like.
And I want to see him right next to him, right there on the right, sitting there.
Lisa, organize your shit behind you on the podcast. I'd be like, no, it's just all destroyed. There's a hole in my house.
Right.
Misa, fix your car. Oh boy.
Well, guys, yeah.
I hope he's wrong. I hope Dom's wrong. I've hoped he's wrong before.
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely,
boy.
man. It's definitely been a fun episode. But
This is fun. I like how season 2 was very so we had Darth Vader at the end of season 2, and season 3 is more like the Emperor's allies, right? So the Mandalorian stormtroopers and the clone, the clone army and the robot army there, all sort of like the pieces of the Emperor's coalition that isn't directly the Empire, the Chiss, Thrawn. It's like these outsiders, right? That the rebels are now encountering. It's not the core Empire. So it's interesting how they've sort of moved to the fringes almost, right? Like they're off stage. So it's kind of cool. That's my theme of the week. And I hope Jar Jar Binks is dead in Star Wars.
Yeah. No,
now. There's all the chatter.
Definitely. Yep, we got to spam return Jar Jar Binks.
Well, you either die a hero or you live to be a villain. That's just that's the story of Jar Jar Binks.
I think my theme was that, like DP said, the as they call them, Imperial Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Or like the Death Squad, the Mandalorian Death Squad for the Empire, so to speak. I mean, that was pretty cool to see that. And,
Yeah. I agree. And the jetpacks.
Yeah.
And all the fact that there aren't all dead, and the Empire is so push them into the Stormtrooper force. And then we know the Stormtroopers are recruits. They're all recruits. So it makes sense that there'd be conscripted Mandalorians, because where else would, you already went to the Mandalorian well once and it worked out okay.
Right.
I mean, because at this point, where we are in Star Wars, they actually are now recruited humans.
Mm-hmm.
They're no more clones. So at this point, we are getting to the actual human, and then also in this point, this is probably when the Empire started tracking down Force sensitives. In the grand timeline, or as DP alludes to, the MCU. What do they call that now with Kang? The time continuum, whatever they call it.
Multiverse.
The multiverse.
Yeah.
Which, no spoiler warning, we'll get into that soon, though.
Yeah, stop it now.
We're still in front of the big ones.
Ken knows. He's been I'm sure he's watched into season 4. But we'll dive into that a little bit as well. But guys, just to let you know as well, we will resume part 2. What did we say, DP? 8 to 15?
Yeah, 8 to 15, and we're going to throw in the Star Wars holiday special from last year. So we'll get into that with you guys, and little fun little holiday treat for you guys before the Christmas comes here. So yeah, gonna get into that.
Everybody bring your favorite non-alcoholic beverage.
It's still Disney.
Your favorite non-alcoholic beverage, guys. No Sarlacc juice because there's alcohol in there.
I'm not allowed to get hammered and watch it. I mean, I feel like as an adult in my house, if I want to be slappy drunk, you know, and watch Star Wars, it's my right. And I feel like the least Star Wars could do, if I'm not allowed to do that, is kill off Jar Jar Binks in a way that's permanent and hilarious that I can enjoy. And I feel like that I'm owed that at this point. My dog agrees.
It's your right, you know.
My dog agrees. He came over.
There we go.
All right, Bubba, come on. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree, but you know, it's been a fun run, you know, as we get on this backside of season 3 and we have a season left, and I think season 4 is only 2 runs. It's like 15 episodes, so it's 2 more. So really, guys, we only have 4 more episodes of you know, Rebels, and to think how long we could have thought this was going to take, you know, when we started this kind of journey of doing Rebels. So it's been fun. Time flies, and hope you guys enjoy listening to our banter of Jar Jar Binks and all things Star Wars and truck nuts on the Millennium Falcon. You know? it's definitely been a fun one, you know. Definitely.
Well,
that's not leaving my mind anytime soon, because I can now visualize that.
Jar Jar Binks. That was Jar Jar. We named them Jar Jar Binks.
Chewie's always trying to get him off there. I was like, I told you I like those.
The truck nuts. That's always going to be in my mind. Every time I think of Millennium Falcon now, I'm going to think it's the truck nuts.
Oh boy.
Oh, guys. But yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in, and until next week, guys, this is the way.
This is the way.